All in favor of having music at the next intro of a webinar? I think we need to incorporate that into the next. We're going to let a few more people trickle in and then we'll get started. And yes, now my wheels are spinning of like a reuse playlist, music centered around reuse. If you have ideas, put them in the chat. All right, team, should we go ahead and get started? All right, excellent. Thank you all for joining us today. We have 30 minutes of your time and we are so grateful for it. My name is Emma Hopson, Senior Sustainability Manager here at Rheaply, and I am joined by one of my esteemed colleagues, Lily MacLean, Senior Solutions Engineer. And today we're going to be talking to you about FF&E by the numbers and going over how you and your team can leverage reuse for a really impactful 2024. So before we get started, we are going to have a product demo. We will be going over some questions, so please feel free to use the chat function and fill in any questions that you have. We'll address them at the end. And I am hoping that we have many conversations after the webinar and in the weeks to come because you guys are so excited to start your reuse programs. But for today, you will just be hearing from Lily and I, and your microphones will be muted. Excellent. So we are going to go over by starting with Rheaply's reuse recaps and some highlights that we had from 2023. Lily will be sharing a platform demo, overviewing internal reuse, permissions and control, reporting and data, and all that good stuff. And then we will host time to address any questions that you have in the chat. So please fill in questions as they come up and we will hold space for them at the end. Excellent. So let's get started by recapping 2023 and 365 days of reuse wins. So whether you're here for you are a Rheaply champion or you want to hear about the latest and greatest updates, perhaps you have upcoming office-wide decommissions that you need help with, or maybe you're just curious to learn more about how you and your organization can begin, or in some cases, accelerating your reuse mission. Rheaply is here to help, and we're really excited to hold space to talk to you about this today. 80% of furniture in the US ends up in the landfill. And Rheaply is on a mission to ensuring that all of these items are met at their highest and next best use. And we decrease that number significantly. And so when you're starting to think about your reuse program, you can think of this, and we like to think of this in 3 pillars. So you first have your system to manage your workplace resources. If you don't have clear visibility into what you have, where it is, the condition of the items, whether it's in use or in storage, and other related data points, you won't be able to build that successful reuse program or even know where to start. So the system needs to be easy to use and something that you and your colleagues can frequently access and tap into to have the single source of truth that everyone has access to. You then need to have a system to share your workplace resources broadly. So this can be a system for internal reuse only, so your employees can find and use the FF&E that's available for reuse, or you can share it for this broader sharing vision that you and your organization might have, where it can be, the resource can be shared externally when you no longer need them. So like I mentioned before, 80% of furniture ends up in the landfill. And what we've seen thus far from our clients that choose to share externally is that there are so many organizations that can and want to put these perfectly good items to use. You just need the tool to share them and create that visibility. And finally, a successful reuse program is underscored by solid sustainability and financial reporting. This is the hardest one to DIY, but with Rheaply, you can track your data, track the weight diverted, the value of the items you're reusing, your estimated embodied carbon avoided, and the amount that you're saving by reusing, and in some cases, donating. I'm going to save all of that for later that Rheaply, or that Lily can go into, pretty much Rheaply, but that Lily can go into, and let's go over some highlights from the year. Excellent. So over the last year, we saw almost 2,500 listings exchanged between Rheaply users on platform, and that comprised of almost 30,000 individual assets or items. We helped our clients save over $4 million by reusing their assets. And by way of the donations, that sharing externally piece, we helped cultivate the value of donations to $2.5 million. We helped save an estimated embodied carbon emissions avoided of 1.9 million kilograms. And we've been able to keep a lot of furniture out of the landfill, coming in at over 1.5 million pounds. And yes, that is equivalent to 3 airliners. So pretty significant. Okay, so we're talking about all of these numbers, but what does that actually look like? And there are many ways in which this can manifest in and outside of your company that we've been able to see at Rheaply. So I'm going to share a few of those examples here. It can look in a myriad of ways with a lot of different assets. These were the 3 most heavy items on platform. You have workstations, and then coming at a very distant second, you have your task chairs and then your file cabinets. You see exchanges of all sizes. So we've seen some very heavy exchanges like these workstations and these very teeny tiny exchanges like this decorative box. We see exchanges internally, like with our client in California, who has chosen to reuse or upload all of their assets to the Rheaply platform. And before they go into designing a new space, they're looking at what they already have. And they recently saved over $100,000 in their new designs for the new spaces by just reusing what they already have and gaining access to that visibility on the platform. And we're seeing reuse in the big leagues. Rheaply was able to partner with APB and Associates. They're the owner of the Cleveland owner representatives for the Cleveland Guardians Progressive Field Renovation Project. They had a lot of items that they needed out in a short amount of time. So what did they do? They uploaded their assets to the Rheaply platform and were able to garner a lot of support and interest from local nonprofits. And this was over 23 local nonprofits received these items and picked them up from the stadium itself. And we helped divert 75,000 pounds from the landfill. And that's a value of over $100,000. So that was exceptional. And with great partnership with the Ohio EPA, Green Sports Alliance, and Goods Bank NEO. For that facilitation, it looks like managing office decommissions when your office no longer is moving to a new space or removing that space altogether. What do you do with all those assets? Well, you hire Rheaply and our partners, and we work to find the highest and next best use with all of those items, and we give you a sustainability report at the end. This one significantly is helping not only donate $34,000, but we had a reuse rate of over 98.5%, which is pretty exceptional. It looks like keeping resources and in use by those who need them most. So we had, for example, an organization in Chicago that was closing their cafe. Well, post those items to Rheaply, and we help keep those in circulation at a local nonprofit that was focused on ensuring that the housing insecure had items when they were getting out of homelessness to have cutlery and plateware, things that you don't commonly think of, right? Or when an employer in California no longer needed all of their laptops, they were able to help post them on Rheaply and donate them to local organizations where we supplied them at their back to school backpack drive and gave kids that no longer didn't have access to technology, the access to bridge that digital divide and give those at that back to school drive. So those are just a few examples of what that actually looks like. At Rheaply, we've seen a whole lot of growth over the last 3 years. These items, when we first started these external exchanges, In our first year, we had 525. And looking back on that now, we have 178,000 items that have been exchanged externally. In the last 3 years, we've also grown that to a million pounds diverted from the landfill. And the coolest part is that we're just getting started. In this month alone, I'm thinking about one client, and we've helped them divert over 130,000 pounds out of the landfill. So some really cool stuff that we're doing. It's an honor to share that with you today. And I think I just did a little teaser for the next 2024 reuse recap. But in the meantime, I'm going to kick it over to Lily. We just talked a lot about the what happened, but now Lily can really dive into the how and how this happens on Rheaply with you.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. As I'm pulling up my screen here, our clients had an incredibly impactful 2023, and we're looking forward to continuing that and growing that in 2024. And the how and how that happened is through the Rheaply technology and our services. So as Emma mentioned, we provide systems that help to facilitate the reuse of these items, the exchange of these items to other communities or internally at organizations that we work with, and ultimately provide the reporting that you all just saw at the end to make sure that that impact is not lost. So the Rheaply platform, and my goal here is to give you a high-level overview of how some of our clients are using the product to enable some of these metrics. The Rheaply platform aims to do 3 things. We want to give you visibility into your stuff. So, hey, if I know what's underutilized, if I know what's in surplus, if I know what's sitting in that warehouse or that storage space, I can make better choices about that, including exchanging those resources. So allowing the exchange of these resources from my hands to another employee's hands at my company internally, or from my hands to a donation partner that Rheaply helps me find, keeping these assets in their highest and next best use. And that all takes place on the platform. Once those 2 things are occurring and they're happening digitally on our product or a similar product, what's happening is we're capturing metrics and reporting. So enabling real-time and aggregate data to show the impact that reuse is having for your organization. So the way that we like to talk about this is through the lens of an asset. What happens when you have assets? How do you leverage the tool to get them to their next home? It's a really simple process in theory, and in actuality, we make this a really user-friendly experience. So we call digitizing these resources the process of creating listings. So when you come into the platform and you have a warehouse full of items that you might want to find their next homes, or you're going through a refresh and you want to look for items, the first step is really digitizing these resources. And whether it's your organization and users within your organization doing this, or Rheaply helping that process, we're creating these resources, a digital version of themselves, so that anyone has that visibility into those resources. So what does that look like? We can take data that you already have, we can import it into our system. This is mobile friendly, so you can take pictures of your stuff. We can be flexible to capture as much or as little information as is needed. So, hey, I really want to know down to, manufacturer, fabric, color, all this stuff, or we want to donate these resources. So really what we want is just pictures and a title and maybe the condition of the item, flexible to meet your needs. But ultimately, we make this a user-friendly experience. We help to use AI and technology to suggest and keep the listings in their most accurate description and condition. But ultimately, where the power lies with our users is the ability to choose who has access into these resources. So if I'm digitizing these resources and I know that this warehouse, I want these items to all go to good homes outside of my organization, I can choose that these items will become visible to my organization's preferred network of organizations, a network that Rheaply can help find these partners that Emma was talking about to claim these resources. Alternatively, if you know that these resources have really good life left in your organization, you can choose that only people within my organization have visibility into these resources and can claim them for reuse. So that decision is solely up to our organizations that we work with, giving them control over the reuse of these assets and whatever fits within their business rules. Once these listings are published, they become active in our shopping experience. So I come in here as a user who is interested in the supply, either one of those donation partners or another internal employee that is seeing what has been made available for them to see. They're interacting with the platform as a shopping experience to look and procure from the things that already exist within our ecosystem and haven't been manufactured brand new. So I'm coming in here As a user interested in this stuff, I can look for specific items that meet my needs. I can search for things based on where I am geographically, so based on location. I can look for things based on my interests. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm looking to create exchanges. So I have visibility into what's available, and now we're exchanging these resources and getting them into the hands that can actually utilize them. So I come in here as that user. I see something that is interesting to me. I can click into it to learn more about this resource. But ultimately, this boils down to exchanges and making offers for these items. As soon as I submit that offer through the product, I'm in direct communication and contact with the owner, the purveyor, or the manager of this resource. So the system automatically connects users and allows these users to exchange items and keep a digital record of what's actually leaving an organization's premises and where it's actually going. At the end of the day, after these exchanges are happening and after all this good stuff is moving to new hands, we're capturing aggregate reporting on the impact that this has from a financial, sustainability, and efficiency perspective. So what does that look like? We have reports such as estimated embodied carbon avoided, which shows the impact that reuse has from a carbon perspective. So if these items were reused and taken by somebody, which is what this is showing, these items were not manufactured brand new, and thus we avoided carbon being emitted. From a value standpoint, we have the value of what's in surplus and then what is being recaptured. So if we have a certain amount of items, what is the monetary value of what's sitting underutilized? What am I looking at from a cost perspective of how much we have sitting in surplus? And as those items are either being reused internally or being donated externally, we're recapturing that value into the economy. But also we can think of this from an internal perspective as cost avoidance, because these items did not have to be purchased brand new. They were purchased and procured from what already existed. And so we avoided cost that is associated with those purchases. And then again, from a sustainability perspective, we have weight diverted over time. Very good metric to understand. And, we talked a lot about that with our 2023 metrics, which is ultimately at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff does end up in the landfill. If it's sitting in storage, its next step is most likely the landfill. And by getting it out of those spaces and pushing it towards people and organizations that can actually use these items, we're avoiding that step. And so we can calculate the weight diverted over time and get a good understanding of the real-time data and the real-time impact that this has from a weight standpoint. So that is the high-level overview of the Rheaply platform, giving you an understanding of having visibility into your stuff allows you to make better choices about those resources. Once that visibility happens, we can actually facilitate exchanges in the platform and create a central location where all of these items are moving, and we're creating digital records of what's happening with these items. And then lastly, giving you reporting and data and impact metrics to show that this actually has an impact on your organization from not only a cost standpoint, but a sustainability standpoint, also operational efficiency standpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and stop with the demo. I think we have a couple more slides to go through. Perfect. Thanks, Jen. So Rheaply puts reuse on the table for every business. Our goal is to keep valuable products in use, reduce costs and landfill waste, and reach your ESG goals. We have solutions that I just showed, technology that facilitate these activities. We also have services that allow and enable organizations to bridge the gap between where they want to go and where they are right now. And ultimately, thank you for coming to the content portion of our demo. And we're actually going to, into our presentation, we're going to switch into our Q&A.
Excellent. So if you do have other questions, please use the Q&A chat. We will start. If I want my organization's assets to be donated, not sold, how does Rheaply do that? In short, we do it well. Long answer is that we use our platform. And that's really the beauty of the Rheaply platform is when you no longer want your items to be moved or to be circulated internally, whether it be you no longer need them, you are downsizing, you're leaving that office altogether, we can help you find organizations externally by you sharing with your preferred network of partners. So that's that external function. And we can build out that preferred network for you. So we have some clients that only want to donate to schools versus only donate to nonprofits. Some are open to any sort of donations, just get it out of here and get it on time. And we can meet the needs of, we can and have met the needs of all of our clients, and by way of those donations. If you want to sell your items on platform, you can also do that. So you can post items externally for free or for a fee. So it's a choose your own journey, if you will. Lily, you want to take this next one?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question we have is, are you operating only in the US? The short answer is no. The longer answer is we do have a preference to help our clients in spaces where there are the most local number of donation partners that we can help with external exchanges. Our platform and our technology is being utilized in other countries outside of the US, but it depends on what your specific needs are as an organization. So we are always open to expanding past what we're doing currently, and where we are doing business currently, and that is outside of the US, but it is a bit of a deeper conversation in terms of, hey, where are your spaces? What is your overall use case and goal? Do we have partners that we want to target specifically in those areas? If we do, then that's great. If we don't, then what would that look like? And so we take a bit more of a conversational approach to that. So short answer is no, not only in the US. Long answer is we like to have those conversations and really understand your specific use case.
Thanks, Lily. Next, who handles the cost of moving items? Great question. So it depends. I hate that. I hate starting an answer with it depends, but it does depend, because it depends on how you're using Rheaply. So if you have Rheaply's circulate with preferred network, that internal reuse and that external functionality, and you are using that, then we work with a lot of the nonprofit organizations, and we ensure that there is no additional cost to the client and that the organizations can go on site and pick up the items, and we coordinate all of those logistics, making it as painless of a process as possible. I know that's not always the case, and sometimes nonprofits can't go on site, or all clients have different restrictions and parameters, and we work within those boundaries. If you are working, say, in a decommission, that is already included in that initial scope, and we make sure that we do not come back with any additional costs after the fact. So everything is an upfront price.
Awesome. I'm going to answer the question from the chat as well. How do you overcome concerns about liability when making donations? Is there any safeguard for this? Excellent question. I'll let Emma answer half of this as well, because she deals a lot with our donation partners. But our platform as is does have our terms of service rely on liability to be assumed by the buyer or the claimer of the item. So as a user who signs up, it is understood from our enterprise clients that if you are claiming these resources, the liability for those resources is your responsibility. In addition to that, we do also, collect for our enterprise clients that have donation partners that are connected into the organization. We do collect certificates of insurance and other pieces of information specifically around, some of the individual transactions or individual relationships. I'll let Emma talk a little bit more about that, but typically, and unless discussed otherwise with your unique use case, the liability is on the buyer or the claimer of the resources and not the supplier or the seller.
Yes. Transparently, Lily, you covered all of the bases. So I'm not sure what additional there is for me to add, especially in that signing up piece, that they are checking a box and removing the liability from the donating organization, and they are assuming that. We also ensure that all of the listings and donations are items that partners would want to receive. So if there are items that might not be might not be even usable, we want to make sure that those go to our other partners. We have some exceptional partners. I see the Furniture Exchange is on here. They're one of our fantastic partners, and they can help bring items back to their highest next reuse with a little bit of love and attention to the item and refurbishing some pieces. So they've done some exceptional work for us, and with us. What other ones do we have in here? We can't, yes, we have and do use union labor. Again, especially for these decommission projects and these large scale projects, you tell us all of the parameters that you have, and we make sure that we follow all of those guidelines. So we will have you back in your lease standards with all the appropriate work requirements, and we will get it done ahead of time. Let's say that. Excellent. Any final questions?
I see one in here about business model and yeah, how do you charge for your service? So we are a technology and services company. So we have a technology that you guys just saw the product demo, which is a SaaS, typical SaaS model. And we have services. Emma touched on this a little bit, but the services piece is based on, your specific needs and what the space requires. So if you're going through a decommission or depending on the service, decommission, or if we're helping you digitize resources to get on the platform, it depends on what the space looks like, and what those pieces look like. So again, another it depends model, but that apologies or answer. So apologies on that, but we can dig into specific use cases on a one-on-one basis if you're interested. We have another question on the chat.
Oh, question in the chat, not Q&A. Awesome, Jeff. Thank you. Curious if we could adapt this platform for use in moving surplus food around a local area. Erin, I would love to learn more about your organization and the work you're doing. There are so many restrictions with moving food in that point in time, and just ensuring that we are, helping transport items that are usable, edible, and safe, right? But I would love to connect with you and learn more about your organization. And I'm not gonna lie, we have not moved food around, but I'm confident that we could help in ensuring that you and your organization have resources and support. So please reach out and let's chat. I would love to. And same with everyone here. There seems to be a lot of questions, especially around this external piece. And I think something we can close with is that we are all on our own reuse journeys. And like I said, at the top of the call, we're all entering this at different points, and some are just trying to figure out where to get started, and some are really trying to accelerate it inside your organization and or outside. And there are tools in place for you to be able to do all of that and so much more. And we're just really honored that you are choosing Rheaply or considering Rheaply as one of those tools. We have an exceptional network of partners, an exceptional product to bring forward, and we're really looking forward to an even more impactful 2024 with you. To recap the 2023 reuse reports, you can scan this code and take a peek at our impact report or our reuse recap report, and you can see that on LinkedIn as well. Please reach out to us with questions, other comments that are coming in, and yeah, we look forward to helping you and your organization on your reuse journey. Thank you all for the dedication of your time. We don't take it lightly.
We do know that there are a couple unanswered questions in the chat. We can reach out afterward to follow up on some of those answers. Apologies, we didn't get to everything. Great that everyone is asking questions and is interested in this.
Oh yes, there's so many questions we didn't do. Okay, yes, please, especially reach out on LinkedIn and we will follow up individually. Happy to. Thank you all.